infrastructure, the latest compromise, you said earlier today the president needs to see more details. What details does he need to see? Was he not able to take a look at the package this weekend? And one of the issues you've obviously raised are pay-fors. So gas tax aside, that being a non-starter, what pay-fors would the White House be open to? Specifically, some have raised potentially using leftover CARES funds or funds from the December COVID package. Would those be feasible? And do you want to see the package ultimately fully paid for?
Well, first let me say that the president's pledge was not to raise taxes on Americans making less than $400,000 a year. And the proposed gas tax or vehicle mileage tax would do exactly that. So that is a non-starter for him. I'd also note, for the mathematicians in the room, that only raises $40 billion, which is a fraction of what this proposal would cost. The president has proposed a range of ways to pay for this package, including ways that would not violate the red lines the Republicans have put forward. One of them is ensuring the highest, wealthiest individuals in this country pay what they're supposed to pay as it relates to taxes, additional tax enforcement, which would raise a great deal more by multiples of what the gas tax would raise, and it would fall on for predominantly wealthy Americans and just ensure they're paying the taxes they owe. So that is an area where we feel there should be an opportunity to move forward. And as it relates to details, of course there needs to be ongoing discussion. There will be over the coming days. Rapidly, I expect to have conversations this afternoon, tomorrow. We'll read those out as those happen, provide information to all of you, and we're eager to get those continued.
Is the White House open to using those leftover funds to fund the ultimate bill?
Well, one, there's minimal, very small amounts that would be left over, and many of those small amounts have already been allocated, or they are to help small businesses, help keep cops and firefighters on the beat. And so we feel the best proposal that does not violate the red lines that the Republicans have put forward would be tax enforcement and some other proposals the president's already put on the table.
Lastly, on voting rights, obviously, there's going to be a show vote on S1 tomorrow that's going to fail. So I wanted to come back to President Biden pledging to do whatever he could. He said he'd use every sort of tool at his disposal to get the bill passed. What has he done to get that bill passed, considering this vote is going to fail? And since he has pledged that, is it time for him to start calling again for filibuster reform more loudly? That's a tool at his disposal he has not yet really pushed for.
Well, first, let me just give you a sense of how we see this and how the president sees it. It's a step forward. We don't expect there to be a magical 10 votes. I'm not suggesting that. But just 2 weeks ago, there were questions about whether Democrats would be aligned. We certainly hope that will be the case tomorrow. It's important to remember that this has been a 60-year battle to make voting more accessible, more available to Americans across the country. And our effort, the president's effort to continue that fight doesn't stop tomorrow at all. This will be a fight of his presidency. In terms of the steps he's taken, he's had conversations, obviously, with members about supporting this legislation, including Senator Manchin, as you all know, over the last couple of weeks. And he will continue to advocate. He's also asked his vice president, or agreed with his vice president, that she will be in charge of this effort moving forward. It doesn't stop. This is an important piece of it, the federal legislation, more work to be done, but it doesn't stop with that. There's work to do in the states. There's work to do with voting groups. There's work to do to empower and engage legislatures, and that's something that will also be part of her effort. And as it relates to the filibuster, I don't think you have to take it from us. That would be